Netzarim Junction, Gaza City. Netzarim Junction, Gaza City. Caught in the crossfire, no way out. Caught in the crossfire, no way out. Caught in the crossfire, no way out. Muhammad al-Dura, 12 years old. 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 For the love of God, protect me, Baba. For the love of God, protect me, Baba. Caught in the crossfire, terror revealed. Caught in the crossfire, terror revealed. Caught in the crossfire, terror revealed. They scream against the killing rain. They scream against the killing rain. They scream against the killing rain. Caught in the crossfire, the bullets strike. Caught in the crossfire, the bullets strike. Caught in the crossfire, the bullets strike. Dead in his father's lap he lies. Dead in his father's lap he lies. Dead in his father's lap he lies. Caught in the crossfire, Israel lies. Caught in the crossfire, Israel lies. Caught in the crossfire, Israel lies. Muhammad al-Dura, 12 years old. Muhammad al-Dura, 12 years old. Muhammad al-Dura, 12 years old. Caught in the crossfire, Muhammad al-Dura. Caught in the crossfire, Jamal al-Dura, his father. Caught in the crossfire, Amal al-Dura, Muhammad's mother. Caught in the crossfire, Bassam al-Babazi, the Red Crescent ambulance driver who was shot trying to save them. Caught in the crossfire, Israel lied. Caught in the crossfire, Palestine. Caught in the crossfire. Caught in the crossfire. Caught in the crossfire. It's a question. Thank you. Right, I'm going to move on now. Coffee, always coffee, reminds me of Palestine. Coffee and Miramir in the tea. But we must move on. And the next song is about Palestine. It's not written by me. All these songs have Palestine as the core to them. I'm just going to put this in. Okay. Here we are again. Okay. This was written by Jim Page, an American singer-songwriter. It's called Palestine. Remember, you can still donate on Just Giving. We're nearly there on the £500 the last time I looked. And I should say that But the money will be going to Hebron International Resources Network, My Dream Centre for Autism, for young students and people with autism. They need a new vehicle. So this is going towards it. I'm going to tell you a story, make it clear as I can, about a faraway trouble in the Holy Land. Pictures of the children etched in your mind, laying down their bodies on the firing line. And the people who live there, they live under the gun, where it's been a home for 1,000 years before the soldiers come. Surrounded by the army, airplanes in the sky, everybody knows someone who had to die. Ooh, Palestine, there's a hole in your soul. Ooh, Palestine, will it ever be whole? Will it talk about the settlers? They come from so far away. Talk about the money from the USA. Talk about the bullets made of plastic and steel. Pictures of a Palestine underneath the iron heel. Now what do you do when they come to your home and they tell you that your land is no longer your own? Do you let them take it? Do you dare to resist? Pictures of a Palestine underneath the iron fist. Ooh, Palestine, there's a hole in your soul. Ooh, Palestine, will it ever be whole? Well, we say we want peace, but we pay for subjugation. We say we want a settlement in terms of occupation. Well, we call for human rights. We never say what kind. You can see what it's come to in the faces of Palestine. Does it ever make you think about the friends we endorse? The armies of the generals riding on an iron horse. Does it ever make you wonder why it always seems to be such an undemocratic version of democracy? Ooh, Palestine, there's a hole in your soul. Ooh, Palestine, will it ever be whole? Ooh, Palestine, there's a hole in your soul. Ooh, Palestine, let your story be told. Thank you. That's a Jim Page song, and the first time I heard that was actually at the Sidmouth Folk Festival, and the great Roy Bailey sang that song, and I was sitting next to a friend of mine who might be on this call, on this concert today. His name is Richard Bradbury, dear friend of mine and comrade, and we sat together and looked at each other as he started to sing Palestine. It was great. Okay. Now, I have a friend in Palestine who I met in 2012. It was my second visit in 2012. and I stayed for 6 weeks. And one of the people I was looking forward to meeting was a woman called Yasmin Jabara. Yasmin plays the harp. She is a very accomplished academically. She has a master's degree now in applied linguistics and translation, an advocate for disability rights, and she lost her own father by a settler murdering him on his rounds. He was delivering like groceries and that kind of thing in the Salem area of Palestine, which is a village near Nablus, up in the north that way. Now, the other thing to say about Yasmin is that she's blind. She's been blind from birth. Now, I got to know her and have kept in touch all these years. And now, 8 months ago, she had her first child, Jason in English. And she has got a good job now. She's had a lot of problems with people, basically discrimination on the basis of disability around her job. But she now has a good job in the youth and culture section of the Palestine Authority. So we're hoping, everybody hopes now that she will get more security in terms of her own self. But it's a difficult life. She's under occupation, like all Palestinians. So I'm going to read you a poem I wrote, having spoken to Yasmin. And when I was at her birthday in 2017, her 30th birthday, I read this poem and she translated it line by line. So you can imagine how I felt on that one. It's a good job she was translating, gave me a chance to get breathing because it was very powerful. Right, for Ikhlas, that's her full name is Ikhlas Yasmin Jabara, or formerly Jabara, now Samudi. So here we go. Me. What do I experience in my world without sight? The shape of feelings, the sounds within me changing, shifting, the spaces where I breathe and move. How, you ask, is memory defined? Is it the sounds of long ago? The universal pitch of a mother's song? The taste of her breath? The smell of a father home from a working day? Voices of love and safety who breathe their kisses on my face? The love that came pouring out to me at that first meeting with my parents, mediated by the conditions endured beyond the darkness in my head. I remember the father I touched and smelled and loved, the shape of his unshaven face, the sound of Habibti in my ears. His love, his touch, his care, his laughter. I remember my pain, no eyes necessary to feel, to expect to be secure. A brutal occupying force has ripped away my safety. Baba, Abu Ikhlas, lost to me, to my mother, Sharif, to my siblings. A cloud has appeared. It is darkening. Should bitterness consume my being? No. In my heart, I burn with hope. It manifests itself in my learning and achievements. Words, these symbols which create understanding of happiness and tragedy. I long to teach, to share, to demonstrate how the possible becomes real. How do I see the world now? I am a woman who contemplates the possible, who celebrates the beauty of knowledge, who preserves the humility that tempers expectation, who inspires, who energizes, who expresses feeling, who shows love. I see me. Furi class. Yasmin Samudi. Okay. That was, that was the song, the poem that I wrote. And it kind of, I don't spend too long on some poems. They seem to just come. Others take more time. I know people will know this. Right. I visited, every visit I've been to Palestine, I have been to the South Hebron Hills. And in the last 3 visits, I stayed in the village of Khair and also the village of Susha. Khair is a Bedouin village, and it's right next to a settlement called Carmel, which was built years after Khair, the village, was there. The Bedouins owned the land, but it was stolen. And when I was in Susha, one of the elders, Haja Sarah, who sadly died now, she said she had been, and the word she used was evacuated 5 times. So in her lifetime, just moved off her own land. And in Khair, similar. And I stay there and have wonderful times. But last October, there was a demolition. And there were pictures sent from it. And I'd seen the result of the demolition. I hadn't actually been there when a demolition was happening, but I'd seen the result of demolition in Khair before, because many people have had their homes smashed by the bulldozers. So this song occurred to me. So this is probably one of my most recent efforts, and this is called A Crime Against Humanity, inspired by Bob Dylan's Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, If I Should Be So Bold. Crime against humanity. Oh, why do you come to cause such destruction? Oh, why do you come to bring us such pain? With your guns and your bombs, you have forced our expulsion. For decades we have suffered beneath your warplanes. I saw the bulldozer come on a low loader. I saw the soldiers come with guns in their hands. I saw the rocks and the stones that they strode over. I saw the concrete home, a grey cube in the sand. And it's a crime, and it's a crime, and it's a crime, and it's a crime. It's a crime against humanity. I saw white plastic chairs left out in odd positions. I saw red covered chairs that were all strewn about. I saw a dark brown wardrobe in a precarious situation. I saw a host of men that were clearing the house. I saw a group of people desperately pleading. I saw kafirs, hijabs, and gestures of despair. I saw many cameras that were raised and that were pointing. I saw a bed being removed, broken and bare. And it's a crime, and it's a crime, and it's a crime, and it's a crime. It's a crime against humanity. I saw the deadly movements of that bulldozer. I saw the wall crack on its metal tooth contact. I saw the family home that was roughly driven over. I saw metal and concrete piled up in a stack. I saw a water pipe to the village ripped up by a digger. I saw some men kneel above it and tear it apart. I saw fully equipped soldiers with their fingers on triggers. I saw so many people with great pain in their heart. And it's a crime. And it's a crime. And it's a crime. And it's a crime. It's a crime against humanity. Well, I think to myself, how can this be accepted? I wonder who is looking away with their guilt. I know that the Palestinians will never be defeated. I know that when they destroy, we will rebuild. And it's a crime. And it's a crime. And it's a crime. And it's a crime. It's a crime against humanity. And I think to myself, where has all this happened before? Thank you. Okay, and on that theme, I will continue. And thank you for people who are watching. I can't read your comments really, as Liz is downstairs, I think, fielding them. If there are questions, you can go on to Just Giving by going onto my page and going on to this event, and in the main event you will see the Just Giving page if you look at the description. That's all I can say there. That's the best way to explain it. But I want to thank everybody for coming. It's important that these young kids, and not just young kids, older people too, get the transport so they can come into the My Dream Autism School in Hebron. I've kept an archive for several years of what goes on with the Hebron International Resources Network, and in more recently with the Nina Franklin Palestine Bristol Fund, which is also part of the National Education Union, of which I'm a member. Nina was a great friend of mine. She was a former president of the National Union of Teachers in 2011. And when she died, sadly, last year, one of the messages she left is that she wanted her legacy, if you like, to be rooted in education in Palestine. And the Nina Franklin Fund is doing just that. Many different projects, along with the other projects that are going on in HIRN, Hebron International Resources Network. Around 35 education projects alone are going on. It's a humanitarian, beautiful thing in one of the toughest countries in the world and some of the most dangerous places. Okay, this poem, I was in Umm. I was standing with some friends in the old community centre, which was later destroyed, and we were watching some soldiers who were standing at the gate of the settlement, which is literally feet away from the village, and there's a fence next to it, and it was quite tense. And then they moved away, and one of the boys who was watching was doing his homework as well. So the poem came to me, and here it is. It's called "They Destroy, We Rebuild," the demolition of the community centre at Hebron International. It was destroyed 3 times and rebuilt 3 times. It's now called the International Community Centre because so many people come to visit. I slept there on the floor on my visits. wrapped in safe and blanket warm hospitality. No, it was more than hospitality. It was a Bedouin duty to care for a visiting stranger, now a friend. I laughed, tried to understand the conversation, shared a communal meal, fingers grasping the shrak bread, dipping in together. Watched TV powered by the sun, danced, saw children learning, women teaching, homework finished by the window space, soldiers, jesh in Arabic, smoking, laughing at the gates of the settlement, then driving away. Tension. Is my English good? Of course, I say. A young man smiles with pride. Inside this metal-roofed tent, we, the internationals, are greeted and fed. Oh yes, sweet tea in a glass from the blackened kettle. Plenty of it. You are welcome. Always, you are welcome. Perhaps some miramir too. That's sage. Good for the heart, I understand. Back home, I heard the news. The bulldozer came. Homes destroyed. Refugees seeking refuge once again. 26 now homeless in this August. It came back another day. The mighty machine. A steel giant, imperious. Well, incongruous actually, on an IDF low loader, given its gruesome task. I see the video, the moment of first contact, the stomach twisting moment as deadly metal teeth were meeting metal, the agony of the crunching destruction, the curiosity at the clearance, and ragged pile of shattered memories alongside the broken floor. I think of Seamus Heaney, of the tree planted when he was born. It grew with him. How's the young fella? Look how the tree's grown. Then the family moved away. The new people ripped out the tree. But for Seamus, it was always there, in that location. Nothing tangible anymore. A poignant, even painful memory. How do I see that space in the village now? Inhumanly cleared of its community shelter? Savage, barbaric. Like Seamus's tree, it's never forgotten. There is so much pain. Only here I know that it will rise again. There is no choice. A place of warmth, of education, of laughter, of unbreakable bonds of friendship. A place to lay your head. A seed grows inside the mind. The seed gains in strength, the will to survive, to resist, always samud, resilience. They destroy, we rebuild. Thank you. Another swig of coffee. Before we move on to, now this is a song that was written by a man called Michael Hart, another American songwriter. And it was during the attack on Gaza in 2012. And Michael Hart, I was actually there. I was about 35 kilometers away from that brutal 8-day attack. I was there with our friends in peace activists in a place called Kibbutz Shaval. And we have friends there, which I'm going to talk about later. And my friend Arella and her husband Danny, they have friends in Gaza too. And they were in contact with them. And I was in contact with my friends. But this particular song has become an anthem because many people in Gaza heard it and were new. Well, the song speaks for itself. So it's called We Will Not Go Down by Michael Hart. A blind flash of white light cleared up the sky over Gaza tonight. People running for cover, not knowing whether they climb. They came with their tanks and their planes, ravaging fiery flames. Nothing remains, just a voice rising up from the smoky sky. We will not go down in the night without a fight. Burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Children alike murdered and massacred night after night, while the so-called leaders of countries afar debated on who's wrong and right. Their powerless words were in vain. Bombs rained down like acid rain. Through the tears and the blood and the pain, you can still hear that voice in the smoky haze. We will not go down in the night without a fight. Burn all our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. We will not go down in the night without a fight. Burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. We will not go down in the night without a fight. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Okay. Thank you. Back to Ikhlas. Ikhlas, my friend Yasmin, she's a harpist, probably the only harpist in Palestine. And she has been her teacher over the years, a woman called Sunita Stanislow, who's an internationally known harpist from Israel. And she, over the years, she's come in to Salem, which is a very dangerous thing to do for an Israeli. because Israelis are told to keep away from Palestine, as you can imagine. But she's come in and she's given lessons to Yasmin. But Yasmin's a poet, and this is one of her songs that are poems that I put to words, to music. Okay. If you try to turn your face, if you try to turn your face in a moment, you would be in hospital as a critical case. Occupation is willing to chase every person from the Arabic race, and the steps of history trace. Occupation has no conscience with the bodies of Gaza children dismembered. In that last December, I am torn with pain when I remember the bodies of children trampled underfoot on the Israeli soldier member. Dying words on the tomb door saying war is everywhere on the heads of the poor. Palestinian lives will become sore. You will live in pain more and more. Let it be forever. Let it be forever. When will facts chant? When will justice on her feet stand? When will we together in the face of cruelty stand? When will we learn? When will we? Right, now I missed my turn there. Here we go then. Sorry about this. When will we our rights defend? When will we like a bomb explode? When will we our rights defend? Or shall we wait for someone to rescue us? My apologies. Okay. And what have we got next? Back to Gaza. That was in Salem, my friend from Salem, the village, which if you look out from the roof of Yasmin's house, you can see the settlements on the hills. Everywhere settlements on hills above Palestinians, making life so much more difficult. Now, this is a song of love in Gaza. I wrote this in 2012, the week after the bombing of Gaza, when the 8-day bombing of Gaza, when hundreds and hundreds of people died, amongst them many children. And we could hear the bombing going on. I'd been out in the village of Susha and was watching the aircraft the week before doing their maneuvers, practicing, because what they were going to do was attack Gaza. I wasn't sure what was happening exactly. I saw aircraft refueling above my head, all that sort of stuff going on, in-flight refueling, and lots of helicopters. It's just, well, it's a dream, a bad dream. And then staying with Arella, and we could hear the compression of the bombs, knowing that people were dying. And that was the terrible thing about this. And then we were getting some bombs towards us, some of the rockets, which was frightening. But to be honest, it was like fireworks in relation to what was happening to the Palestinians in Gaza. It's a war crime of great magnitude, along with all the other war crimes that have been committed by the Israeli state against the Palestinians, not just in Gaza, but some of the most egregious crimes everybody has seen around the world. And still there's a siege. Still COVID is rampant because there's not enough for people. There's not enough medical support. It's an absolute disaster. A catastrophe, in fact. 2 million people to be treated in this way in what is considered to be the world's largest open prison. Mohammed and Isra, my friends from Gaza, met them that year. Actually, it's a love story. They met each other Mohammed and texted Isra. Everything was done on the text. I even wrote the song on a computer for the following week when I got back. But and it was really their story about how they met and how they fell in love, and also very specific things, like Mohammed said on the first minute of 2009, because it was 2008-9 when Israel attacked Gaza again, that time in 2008-9 over Christmas, New Year, and they said he said on the first minute of 2009 he proposed to Isra and told her he loved her and wanted to marry her. And but in 2012 it was a terrible story. They did get married in 2012, in the summer of 2012, but then this bombing happened, and I Facebooked them, and they were all in one room and very frightened, and Isra they all looked terrible from fear. And of course everybody gets together to look after each other, and if a bomb hits, it's even worse because a lot of people are killed. It is known that Palestinians actually separate out. They go into different rooms when there's a bombing to try and avoid lots of people being killed. That's how desperate. That's what the Israelis have done to the Palestinians. War crimes. They will be held accountable. They've got to be. Okay, so the story tells itself, really. They said they weren't going to have any children because they couldn't bring children into this. But later, when things were better, marginally better in Gaza, they decided to have a child, and they had a boy called Yusuf back in 2014 in April. And a couple of years later, they had another boy, Adam. So they got 2 children. They're lovely people. It's called A Song of Love in Gaza. She hated it when I first sang it because it was like a dirge. So a friend of mine said, "Judgy it up, make it kind of reggae-ish." So here we go. Isra, a love that cannot die. It's a song that was written in Gaza. It's a song that will always survive. That war that came to Gaza back in the new year of pain. Muhammad told Isra he loved her beneath that terrible rain. The city of Gaza was burning. The messages of love went through. How are you? I'm okay. How are you? Love that cannot die. It's a song that was written in Gaza. A love that will always survive. Down in that month of November, like Herod's war on the child, Isra and Muhammad live in a nightmare. The love song is buried inside. From the dark will be nurtured, will turn like a bird at sunrise. Isra will sing their song of love again, with Muhammad, Yusuf and Adam by her side. The love of Muhammad and Isra, the love that cannot die. It's a song that was written in Gaza, the love that will always survive. The love of Muhammad and Isra, the love that cannot die. It's a song that was written in Gaza, the love that will always survive. The love that will always survive. Well, I love you. I love you too. Stay safe. I'm gonna try. We're going to be together. Okay. What's next? Right, I've got to cut just a couple of more things to go. Probably go over the hour just a bit. That's because I've talked too much. If you want to give, don't forget you can go on my page and onto the event description. You'll see the Just Giving. The money that for anybody who's just arrived, money being raised today is going to the My Dream Autism Centre in Hebron, which is funding is supported by the Hebron International Resources Network and the Nina Franklin Bristol Palestine Education Fund. So there's lots of organisations involved. The National Education Union, of which I'm a proud member, that we are linked with Palestine nationally with the Palestine Solidarity Campaign, but also people are donating individually to Hebron International Resources Network via Nina's fund, but also different divisions have also sent money so that children can have an education. The most vulnerable people you can think of are getting the chance to have an education with good materials like science labs, computers, all those sorts of things. Some of those things have been done in Nina Franklin's name. Her photograph is in many schools. Many children will know who she is now or was. And they will be asking that question, who's that woman on there? This photograph of Nina, and it'll be explained. So it's great. So now I saw a film called Looted and Hidden by a woman called Rona Seller. She directed it, and we're hoping to show it Palestine Solidarity Campaign locally. I've been in touch with Rona, and we've already shown one film, the present, and we had the director along. It was great. And we're going to, and I had this idea, having read another book, not to do with Palestine, but about things being written over. In this case, it was like sea routes being reorganized, rewritten over a previous one. What is called, and I didn't know what this word was until I read this, called a palimpsest. The idea of a script which has, or a manuscript which has faded and been written over. And I was thinking, it's a bit like Palestine. And at first I thought, yes, it is. And then I thought, no, a palimpsest is the writing over of the previous script. In Palestine, the resistance is such that that's not going to happen. They're trying, the Israelis, with all sorts of things to do with language. And I tried to come up with something in this poem. I called it a palimpsest, but I've added a question mark. So here we go. A palimpsest. Question. Erased, stolen, hidden, destroyed. The memories blur and fade. New voices heard in our homes. New language guiding our steps. New music sounding from behind the front door of the house. Where I sang in childhood reverie. My past, my history is drowning. I stand now resistant, each syllable of my language rescuing, retrieving our memories. I stand now resistant, each remembered piece of my past, itself a precious stone, recovering, rebuilding, reminding me, returning, al-Auda, the right of return. The rich treasury of the past remains within a generation that resists the suffocation of this occupation. The attempted genocide, our documents, our music, our buildings, our artifacts, our homes, our status, stolen, hidden, looted. Palestine, an ancient manuscript that will not be erased. There is no empty page on which to rewrite our history. The past will not be removed, forgotten. We will rebuild when you destroy, always. Our separation and isolation bring pain and loss. Our memory together is resistance, preserved, unbreakable. Our history written by our hands. We celebrate our customs. We mourn our dead. We share our sadness. We revive our memories. We resist your occupation. We will share the joy of peace with justice. We make our history. Our words are on the page, not yours. Okay, we're coming towards the end now. I was in Palestine in 2012, and we've been asked, my friend Hamed, who is the big part of Hamed, is effectively directs everything at Hebron International Resources Network, and his great friend Fawad Abu Aisha said, could people come to the family home to help harvest the olives, because the farmers, this was November, the farm, or late October, early November, the farmers get 4 or 5 days, if that. They have to have a license to harvest their own, I was going to swear them, their own olives. It is disgraceful. I don't think people always know this, that this is the way people are treated. And we were in a place in the center of Hebron called Tel Rameda, which is known in the way the city is organized by the Israelis as H2. H1 is the main city of Hebron. Everything is letters and numbers. It discombobulates. You get disorientated. It's just part of the occupation, trying to get inside people's heads. But in that area, there are settlers. They originate from Brooklyn. They're very dangerous. There's about 500 of them, 400 or 500. There's 4 soldiers to every settler. 4 soldiers to every settler, roughly. And they treat the Palestinians there appallingly. Spit at the children going to a Qurtuba school. People have been attacked, and all sorts of terrible things have happened there. And so we were in collecting the olives right next to a settler's home. And there was lots of us, and we were having good fun actually collecting the olives. And we were talking. They had the tarpaulin down, and we were picking all the olives up off the tarpaulin and into the baskets or the buckets. And we were singing. There was musicians there. There was a guy from Lewisham, where I was living before we moved to Torrington here. And he had heard me reciting the poem, The Mask of Anarchy, and was chatting to me about that in Hebron. It was amazingly, I'd never met him before. And somebody was talking about Woody Guthrie, an American guy, Wyatt, his name was. And he was a character. And it occurred to me, because we were singing This Land Is Your Land, that we could change the words. So here they are. I changed the words eventually. I hope Woody Guthrie would have approved. This land is your land. This land is our land. From Haifa City to the Eilat border, from the shores of Gaza to the Jordan River, this land belongs to Palestine. As we went walking that river highway, we saw above us that endless skyway. We saw below us that distant valley. This land belongs to Palestine. And we rolled and we rambled, and we followed our footsteps to the diamond sand of the smoky desert. All around us, a voice was chanting, this land belongs to Palestine. This land is your land. This land is our land. From Haifa city to the Eilat border, from the shores of Gaza to the Jordan River. This land belongs to Palestine. It's a great high wall there that tried to stop us. The sign was painted, private property, but on the other side, it didn't say nothing. This land belongs to Palestine. I'm going to sing the other version of that verse as well. There's a great high wall there that tried to stop us, and the signs painted said private property. But when we tore it down, it didn't say nothing. This land belongs to Palestine. The sun was shining, and we were strolling, and the other trees waving, and the dust clouds rolling, and that voice was chanting as the fog was lifting. This land belongs to Palestine. This land is your land. This land is our land. From Haifa city to the Eilat border, from the shores of Gaza to the Jordan River. This land belongs to Palestine. Nobody living can try to stop us as we go walking down the freedom highway. Nobody living can make us turn back. This land belongs to Palestine. This land is your land. This land is our land. From Haifa city to the Eilat border, from the shores of Gaza to the Jordan River. This land belongs to Palestine. This land is your land. This land is our land. From Haifa city to the Eilat border, from the shores of Gaza to the Jordan River. This land belongs to Palestine. This land belongs to Palestine. This land belongs to Palestine. There we are. Now, I had one more thing before I go, but I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope I can call on people to make a donation, however small. It's all going. Everyone, as I said in the miners' strike back in 1984-85 here in England, everyone's a medal when people were putting in coinage, just bits, pennies, tuppences or whatever back then. So everything counts. And I am grateful that everybody who's already donated, and I would imagine we're close to the 500, if not hit it. So I want to thank you on behalf of the Hebron International Resources Network, also the Nina Franklin Palestine UK Education Fund based in Bristol, and also the National Education Union, which is has an affiliation to the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. And I want to finish with this poem, and then that will be it. So, but I want to thank everybody for coming. Now, this poem is called Revenge. It's by a man called Taha Muhammad Ali, who sadly has died. Now, I first heard this on YouTube. By the way, this has also been streamed on YouTube by the Bookmarks, the TUC bookshop in London, 1 Bloomsbury Street, great address. And they have very kindly streamed this onto YouTube. So I want to read this anyway. This is by Taha Muhammad Ali. revenge. At times I wish I could meet in a duel the man who killed my father and razed our home, expelling me into a narrow country. And if he killed me, I'd rest at last. And if I were ready, I would take my revenge. But if it came to light when my rival appeared that he had a mother waiting for him, or a father who'd put his right hand over the heart's place in his chest whenever his son was late, even by just a quarter hour for a meeting they'd set, then I would not kill him, even if I could. Likewise, I would not murder him if it were soon made clear that he had a brother or sisters who loved him and constantly longed to see him, or if he had a wife to greet him and children who couldn't bear his absence and whom his gifts would thrill, or if he had friends or companions, neighbours he knew, or allies from prison or a hospital room, or classmates from his school, asking about him and sending him regards. But if he turned out to be on his own, cut off like a branch from a tree, without a mother or father, with neither a brother nor sister, wifeless, without a child, and without kin or neighbours or friends, colleagues or companions, then I'd add not a thing to his pain. Within that aloneness, not the torment of death, and not the sorrow of passing away. Instead, I'd be content to ignore him when I passed him by on the street, as I convince myself that paying him no attention in itself was a kind of revenge. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. That was Revenge by Taha Muhammad Ali, Palestinian poet. And good night